Well, congratulations. At this point, we should have an executed contract for the home that you've chosen. Um, at this point, the fun part for me is over, and that was searching for a house. Now it's time to get to business. But I do want you to know this. First off, um, I don't want you to stress over anything that's in this process because I take the brunt of this work. I just wanted you to see some of the key points that we're going to be going over from the point of the contract execution to the actual closing of your home. So let's start here. All right, again, we're going contract to close. The first thing is the earnest money. Please be sure to get that earnest money to me as soon as you can, along with the option fee. Earnest money is written out to the title company that is on the contract, and the option fee, that check is written out to the seller themselves. They get that check, they keep it. Most of my contracts will have that money coming back to you at close, so don't worry about that money at all. The earnest fee, again, as a reminder, the earnest fee is your commitment and your seriousness to buy this home. So that money, it does not go to the seller. That money stays in an account and to be used on your side of the transaction, and it will be spelled out at closing. The first thing we're going to do is hire an inspector, and I want to get this thing done very early. As I told you before, the option period, typically around 10 days. We need to have this thing done sooner rather than later. I want the inspector in there day one or two, giving you time to figure out whether or not you still want the house. And then if there are things that we need to fix, it gives you that time to discuss it with the seller, and we can go back and forth with that. So we're going to hire the inspector day one or two. We're going to review the results of that inspection. I go over line by line of that inspection report, and I'm looking for 5 things. I'm looking for roof problems, structure problems, foundation, plumbing, and electrical. Those are the big 5 for me. And any other smaller thing that you want to have taken care of, I'll do that for you as well. But I just want to make sure that we take care of those big ticket items on the inspection result. I then prepare a repair amendment, and I get that to the seller's agent right away. I get that to him, and that starts our second round of negotiations. Everything that we ask for, we may not get, but I at least want to ask for it. What I want to do is I want to ask him to either repair it or give us money for the repair, or it may be some things that's small enough that we can do without. But again, we'll go over each line to figure out exactly what that is. As soon as we get it on the contract, I'm sending the lender, the title company, and the other agent the fully executed contract. And your job at that point is to see the lender again 1 to 2 days after the executed contract so that you can go for the approval process. Do not wait a week, 10 days to do that, because that time is limited for approval as well. And I want to try to protect your earnest money, because if we have to back out of the contract for any reason, I want you to get your earnest money back. So see your lender very early in the process. Again, if you can do it the same day we have an executed contract, that's best. All right. Know the option termination date. Typically on the contracts, I'm writing 10-day option period. Be sure you know when that option termination period is up. I want you to tell me on day 9 whether or not we're still going to the closing table with this house. If not, we're going to terminate the contract so you can get your option money back. So make sure you're aware of that. And if you don't know that, call me again to ask me when your option termination date is. I would have probably told you that more times than you're comfortable with, because that's a date that I protect very closely. All right. I'm then going to send you some option to choose your home insurance. All right. And I have a couple of people that'll give you a call, or you can use your own if you want to. But I want to get this done early in the process as well. Most of this stuff I like to have done or knocked out within the first few days of the contracts being executed. Some of these things we can't do prior to that, but if we can, we need to knock this out very early. That way, if we have any problems, we have time to fix it. Then I want you to choose your home warranty company. That is a simple task. Most contracts, again, I ask the seller to pay for your first year of home warranty. Then we'll choose that. I have a couple of options for you. All you need to do is let me know and I'll order it for you. So that one isn't that big of a deal. All right, know the lender approval date. You have 10 days to get the option period, which means you have 10 days to back out of this contract if you don't like the house for any reason at all. your option money, usually 50 to 75 or $100 is at stake, but your earnest money comes back to you. After the option period date, then we have the lender approval date. That usually takes about 20 days for the lender to say, yes, I'm going to give you a loan for this house, which is why it's very important for you to get with the lender the first or second day so that you can get that done. So we make sure that we have all of that taken care of. But know that date, because this date is typically 20 days after the execution date of the contract. All right, and then I'm gonna get with you to find the best closing date. The date on the contract is an on or before date. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to close that date, but we can't go any later that date without putting an amendment to extend that date. So we can close anytime before then. So I'm gonna schedule a date, probably a day or two before the date that's on the contract. I don't like to go to the last closing date, because if we have to extend it, then we have to go back to the paperwork again, and I'd rather avoid that. So I'll get with you for a date and time for that. All right, so we've gotten all of that done. Now, 3 days before closing, the title company info and instructions. Now, the title company is going to send you a settlement statement no later than 3 days prior to closing. That's the monies that you need to bring to the closing table, if any. Or any instructions that's on that settlement sheet will be happening during that time. So you'll know. If you don't get the settlement statement 3 days prior, we can't close on the date that we have scheduled. So it's important that you get that. If you don't see that settlement statement 3 days prior to closing, call me so I can be sure that the title company sends that to you. I'm going to give you the number, the address of the title company, and please know that I'm going to give you wiring instructions for money too. On this final closing, the title company cannot accept personal checks. They can accept your personal check for your earnest money, but they cannot accept a personal check here. It has to be a teller check, cashier's check, or you have to wire the money to the title company for closing. You can also wire money to the title company 1 or 2 days in advance, so you don't have to do it that day. That gives you time to go through your finances. Finally, we have the walkthrough. That walkthrough is important because whatever we discussed here for the repair amendment, you and I are going to go back through the house to make sure that the seller and the seller's agents has taken care of all of that. So once we do that and we're satisfied with it, I'll let the seller's agent know that we're good to go for closing. If not, I'm going back to the seller's agent to let them know that these items that on the list that are not taken care of or not taken care of to your satisfaction. We have 3 days to get that done so that we're not waiting till the last minute to do it. Well, again, congratulations on the executed contract. I'm very excited for you. If you are stressing out about something, 1 or 2 things that didn't happen. You didn't either let me know that something was bothering you or I failed to explain it to you. In either case, communication from you to me is important, and that'll relieve your stress. Again, congratulations.